Hi, my name's Nikolai, aka 56 Miner, and today we're unboxing our August Basics box. This month's box is all about metallics. We'll go over how to use materials, some best practices for working in metallics, and I'll share some tips and tricks that I picked up while working with them. Let's get into it. For our service this month, we have a black watercolor paper pad from the Van Gogh company. This cold press paper has a slight tooth to it and is absorbent, so it's perfect for our wet medium this month. The next two items in our box are going to be a set of SketchBox Signature exclusive Shimmer art crayons from the Marabou company. These art crayons act a little bit like oil pastels and will help to reveal some of the texture of our black paper, while still giving us a lot of shimmer and shine. They feel great to hold, and we can always extend the tip by twisting the back component of our art crayon. Because we're not going to be able to achieve fine details like with a liner with this art supply, I'm just going to focus on the lines and the general shape of the carnation I'm drawing. Let's grab the SketchBox Signature round brush in a size 4 included in this month's box and use it to explore some of the water-soluble qualities of our art crayon. By using just a little bit of water in the tip of our brush, we can activate the art crayon and achieve really fine detail. Now, as we push around that pigment, it is going to become more transparent. So I always like to work from my brighter areas to my darker areas to help those gradients make sense. Now, if you haven't worked on black paper before, it can be a little bit tricky. And that's because you kind of have to invert your thinking. Your darker areas are going to be where the paper shows through the most, whereas on white paper, typically the areas that you don't touch are going to be your brightest. With my paper fully dry, I can go back in with our art crayon and really push those highlights. Let's grab the next item in our box, the Graphics Aqua ink in metallic copper from the Marabou company. True to its name, this art supply is a mix between watercolor and ink. My favorite thing about this art supply is just how opaque it is. Straight out of the bottle, we can get really nice flat areas. I'll take advantage of this and create a simple rose, focusing on the petal shape and being conscious of the negative space like we talked about in our January video. Now, if you're a new subscriber or just need a bit of a refresher, head over to our YouTube channel and check that video out. We do a deep dive in all things abstract floral. With my outside edges established, I'll go in and start to fill that interior circle with some petals. While I'm doing this, I'm trying to make sure to reflect the three-dimensional form of that blossom, but I'm not getting too caught up with trying to be realistic. We're kind of going for a stained glass effect with this. Now, if you're new to floral illustration or just want to try something with this month's prompt, Bloom, try this approach. It's a great way to simplify a rather complex subject matter and gives us a fun effect on that black paper. Next, I'm going to rub off a little bit of that art crayon on my palette. You can use anything that's hydrophobic for this, so a coffee mug or a bowl, and I'll use it to create some accent leaves that are going to be a bit more transparent, so they're not going to compete with our flower. This is a great technique if you want to create more fine details with those art crayons. Once I'm happy with my leaves, I'm going to go in and add a few accent lines and dots around the edges. This will help to soften the transition between our black and our metallic areas, because we're working in a really high contrast this month. And as you can see, that aqua ink is super shimmery and bright when we allow the light to catch it. Let's grab the next item in our box, the Pearl Cobalt Blue Gonzai Tambi watercolor pan from the Kurotake company. Using our brush and just a little bit of water, we can activate our pan, making sure to drag our brush across that surface so it can pick up those metallic pigments. By dipping our brush in a little bit of water, we can dilute our watercolor a little bit more, creating some really beautiful, subtle transitions. Working on black paper can be a little bit intimidating. So this month I wanted to show you how to create some guides that you can use when creating your own piece. I'll start by diluting some of our aqua ink and then using that transparent wash in order to create some simple shapes on my page. Because most flowers are going to be a circular shape, I'm going to go in and create a few ellipses in a circle. This is going to be the base of the size and shape of my flowers. After allowing my paper to fully dry, I'll go back in with the aqua ink and divide those circles into petals. This technique is very much line work with a brush, so we're going to want to make sure to have a light but consistent pressure, as that'll give us the most consistent lines. One of the main benefits of setting up those circle guides is they help you to make a more consistent flower, but also help to differentiate the flower from the paper. Using a shorter stroke and a bit more pressure, we can create a fun little wheat element, and we can always vary our line weight in order to create a more fun, loose effect. While a round brush is a very common brush, it's one of the most versatile. It can hold a lot of water, and it can also create a lot of fun single stroke effects. And remember, a slow and steady hand is always going to create a smoother, streamlined mark. Now I'm pretty happy with our composition so far, but I'm going to go in and add a few more leaves just to help balance out the blue metallic in our piece. Let's grab the last item in our box, the Sakura Metallic Jelly Roll Pen in gold, and use it to add some details to our piece. I'm going to use it to add some details to the blossom, and add a few flourishes and dots around the piece in order to help soften the transition between the metallics and the paper. Now if you find that you're getting a center line while using this pen, it means that you're pressing too hard. So using a light hand will allow that metallic ink to flow better to the paper. That's all for this month's video. Hope you enjoyed it, learned a few things, and if you post your work online, make sure you use hashtag SketchBoxAugust. We love seeing what y'all create each month. And if you want to check out any of our previous videos, head over to our YouTube channel where you can like and subscribe. And I'll see you next month.